This is Realm of Kings from Marvel. This is a one-shot that is spearheading a big story in the Marvel Cosmic Comics. It is written by Dan Andy, and this video is going to have a lot of backstory and nothing much else. This is the cover. I didn't much like it. Too dark and dreary. But it is nice to see Quasar front and centre on a cover. He is the main character in this issue. And if you want to read Realm of Kings, you will probably struggle to find a collection that has it all collected. I remember it was a nightmare trying to piece together the correct reading order of these cosmic books, because you had two ongoings, you had a bunch of minis, and then you had one-shots and crossover events like this. The other thing is Realm of Kings isn't actually a story. Realm of Kings is a bait and switch. There is no story called Realm of Kings. Realm of Kings is the first act of a crossover called Thanos Initiative. Realm of Kings was used as a name to hide the fact that Thanos was coming back to comics. He was dead at that point, but he would return at the end of what is called Realm of Kings, and the story is continued directly into Thanos Initiative. If you're going to read Thanos Initiative, it's pretty pointless without reading the stuff called Realm of Kings. And if you read Realm of Kings, it's not a story without Thanos Initiative. So, in a nutshell, Realm of Kings equals Thanos Initiative, and Thanos Initiative equals Realm of Kings. Other than this issue, there is nothing carrying the Realm of Kings name that is specifically its own thing. It's mostly used for tie-ins in Galactical Guardians and Black Star. As I said though, good luck trying to follow these Dan Andy cosmic books, because Marvel have been terrible at releasing collections of them. They just put out collections of one series rather than the entire line of books. And something like Realm of Kings / Thanos Initiative only works if you are reading all of them and you have gotten all the setup. This story stars Quasar. He is the leader here. He had been dead for a few years, but now was back in energy form. The Galactical Guardians have called a meeting to deal with a major problem that has arose. There was a big intergalactic space war story, which I didn't care for, but the ending had a big ass bomb do an explosion, and it tore open a hole in the middle of space. So now the Galactical Guardians are planning what to do about it. And so Quasar, he is going to travel into the Rip and find out where it leads and collect data. We have a drastic art style change. Quasar, he is now on an Earth. But it ain't our Earth. He also has a body again. There is never any explanation for why travelling into a hole in the fabric of the universe would give Quasar a physical form again. And I actually really dislike the new redesign for him, with all the black and the sharp bits. Quasar is not a character that needs sharp shoulder blades or things to look like they are spikes. So this Earth that he is on, it is an evil universe where Cthulhu monsters rule. It is called the Cancerverse. It is where all the people who are cancelled by Twitter go. As I said, this is all Thanos initiative stuff. What we have here, it is all paid off and resolved in Thanos initiative. The Cancerverse is effectively the main thing in that. Quasar meets the Cancerverse Avengers, and at first they just seem like shoddily dressed versions of our Avengers. But you see, they are nasty versions of our Avengers who have been cancelled for being transphobic and racist and anti-vax. I just realised that is why Jonathan Majors is in one of the Galactical Guardians issues, because he was cancelled for hitting women. In the Cancerverse, what is more important than intolerant views is that they pledge allegiance to the Lovecraftian, many-angled ones. They are all vessels for the great evil monsters, like the Thor here. Look at his face. That's a Thor I would not want sucking my cock. Give me Christopher Hemsworth, please. They also eat a heart to prove the point that they are fucking dark, man. So dark. They capture Quasar and they plan to use him as a bridge to the real Marvel universe to spread their evil and dominate another universe for the ever-hungry, many-angled ones. Time for some more backstory, I guess, to explain some of what the fuck is going on and why Marvel are doing a cosmic story with Quasar in the lead when it would appear to be market suicide. In 2005 and 2006, Kevin Griffin wrote a crossover called Annie All Nation, and despite the odds stacked against it, it was an enormous success. He revitalised and revamped characters like Black Star, Dax the Destructoid, Star-Hawk and Thanos. Annie All Nation was very good. Then Dan and Dee were put in charge of continuing the cosmic side of Marvel. They did a far weaker follow-up called Annie All Nation Conquest. The notable thing that came out of that was Kevin Griffin wrote a Star-Hawk miniseries that retooled the Galactical Guardians into a team set in the modern Marvel universe, with all the characters people now recognise as members of the Galactical Guardians. Star-Hawk, Rocky Raccoon, Groth. Both Black Star and Galactical Guardians had ongoing books, and they were written by Dan Andy, and they ran for quite long. They also penned a bunch of other cosmic stuff in miniseries format, like Unhumans, or Legion of Superheroes, or Dartboard. Then every year they would do big crossover events which, like their Annie-All-Nation conquests, I felt were fairly weak. This brings us to Thanius Initiative, also known as Realm of Kings. This is their swan song. This is something that they had built to for a while, and I think it is their best stuff on these books. Going into this issue, we not only had the tear in the fabric of the space-time continuum, but there were some other subplots such as Alan Moriarty. Alan Watson had submitted to and lost his inner battle with his dark side, and was now Alan Moriarty, who was the central bad guy for these Realm of Kings issues. He was wanting to bring the Cancerverse across to this universe. He was acting like a herald for it. And you've got to read about 9 issues of Galactical Guardians for that stuff. Marvel have never collected this era of comics well. It's always, here's a collection of Galactical Guardians issues. Here's one of Black Star. Here's one of the crossover event, but by itself. Later on in the crossover, we get the backstory of the Cancerverse. How this world became corrupted by the Great Hard Ones. And it's kind of neat, so I won't spoil it here. In the Cancerverse, it is the machines who remain unaffected. The Vision, he was incorruptible because he wasn't a fleshy thing. And the Vision frees Quasar from entrapment. And I don't much care for the art in this issue. I don't think it gets across half the stuff it's meant to. The world looks miserable and grim, but so does Quasar, who is meant to be the one thing on this world that isn't. He has a fight with these Lovecraft Avengers, and that stuff is fun. I do like the Cancerverse and Thanius Initiative. It is a nice change of pace with the normal Marvel Cosmic stuff, all revolving around MacGuffins and God powers and territorial wars. We instead get an infestation of evil creatures from beyond the void. This double-page spread here is my favourite bit of art in this issue. I think this is where it is at its most precise. We have our hideous, monstrous mass. This is the Cancerverse itself. The monster that you see in here, this is what the Cancerverse looks like from the outside. And then in the forefront, we have Quasar in his bright energy form, juxtaposed against it. After this, we cut back to Earth, our Earth. We have an art shift again, and we are at Project Cadmus, which is being run by Dr. Marky Mark J. Nice tribute there. Well, it was nice until an oblivious writer killed him off a year or two later. Quasar returns, but this isn't Quasar. This is the Cancerverse version of Quasar. Now, if you want a direct follow-up to this, I've only bloody already reviewed it, mate. The evil Quasar, that story beat is in Black Star, and then it continues into Thanos Initiative. Meanwhile, the real Quasar and his return from the Cancerverse is in Legion of Superheroes. See what I mean? You have to meticulously work out the precise order of all these comics. And Marvel have never bothered to do a collection or collections of this content that way. These comics have been so neglected by Marvel, I couldn't find almost every cover without the digital copyright watermark slapped on them, and I categorically refused to use them. So you saw a lot of Virgin artwork without the trade dress or copy. I also will acknowledge, yes, there is a Realm of Kings omnibus, and that does give you about 70% of what you need. But missing is some Galactical Guardians issues that are instead in the War of Kings omnibus, but I would consider them essential with regards to Alan Moriarty and the entire plotline with Starhawk and some of the team time travelling. And I don't recommend War of Kings. I hated it. And even if you want to get War of Kings, you also need the War of Kings Prelude omnibus. But I admit those three omnibuses do resolve a lot of problems with collecting this era. You still need to find some way to fill the huge gaps of Black Star and Galactical Guardians issues from before War of Kings, though. I like a lot of the story beats here, and I love Quasar. He is one of my favourites. I even have this Quasar doll. I was wanting to look at some of his comics again. Vroom, 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 vroom. You won't get away this time, Skeletron and the Star Blasters. I think in terms of story, I think independent from the rest of the Thanos Initiative, it's nothing. As a complete piece, the Thanos Initiative is great, but this issue is only a lot of setup by itself. I don't care for the art, which is why I will give this 7 thummy thumbs up.